Vernon, New York this afternoon, where a historic day awaits for Westchester SC as it opens its 2025 home slate against a Rhode Island squad that was runners-up in the USL Championship a year ago. Today's match is presented by Northwell Health. We say hello and welcome here from Mount Vernon, New York. You get your look at the Jägermeister Cup group stage rules. All 38 clubs divided into 6 regional groups. 2 matches home, 2 matches away in the group stage for all of these clubs. And then when it comes to determining points, it's pretty standard, except for the fact that if it's tied at the end of regulation, spot kicks determine who secures an additional point in the standings. And then when it comes to advancement, the 6 group winners and 2 wildcard teams determined based on who scored the most goals in the group stage advance to the knockout rounds. It should be a phenomenal 2025 Jägermeister Cup. This is your look at Group 4, the group we're competing in today. Westchester SC, part of a group with 4 USL Championship squads. They face all of them in this Jägermeister Cup campaign. For Rhode Island, a bit lighter on paper. They have a 2-2 split, 2 games against League One foes. Time to take a look at our players to watch, starting with Westchester SC, and it's none other than their top goal scorer, Juan Carlos Obregon Jr., 5 goals and 1 assist in all comps after following Dave Carton from Charlotte this offseason, and he has been exceptional up front. Dave Carton raving about his work ethic, also raving about how he's physical in challenges despite his size. He's the big man to watch up front if you are a Westchester supporter this afternoon. On the other side of things, for Rhode Island, a squad that has managed just 5 goals in as many USL Championship matches, they're hoping for more out of last year's USL Championship golden playmaker Noah Fuson, who has not logged a goal contribution this season. He's the primary focal point going forward. They'll be hoping they can get him on the score sheet today. We are just about set for kickoff in Westchester's official home opener here in Mount Vernon, a major Northeast clash to open Jägermeister Cup play. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff next on ESPN+.
Being healthy means you can do what makes you happy with the people who make you smile. Health First insurance plans connect you to care you can trust for a happy family and a healthy future. With Health First, it's all within your reach.
What makes Westchester different is what makes us strong.
Different towns, different dreams, different journeys.
It's the businesses that fuel our neighborhoods, the families that shape our future. It's the balance of city hustle
and scenic river towns. It's hard work, ambition, resilience, the drive to compete and the will to win.
No matter where we come from,
here we are connected by something greater. Like the waters of the Hudson, we move with strength and purpose.
when we play together,
we are unstoppable. Our United by Blue jersey is more than just a uniform. It's a symbol.
the deep blue represents the rivers that shape our home, while the repeating Infinity W pattern speaks to our relentless pursuit of progress.
Gold accents remind us of the excellence we strive for,
On and off the field. Inside every jersey, the words,
"We are Westchester,"
serve as a reminder whether you wear it on the pitch
or in the stands.
you are a part of something bigger.
When we stand together, we are Westchester.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. We are back here at the stadium at Memorial Field here in Mount Vernon, New York. Just about set for kickoff as we get a look at our starting lineups tonight, starting with Westchester SC. 2 changes from last week's 4-4 draw at Richmond. You see up front, Cohen Blomestein enters the fray alongside Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. And in addition, no Stephen Payne in the lineup. They've shifted to a 3-5-2 as a result. That is what Dave Carton's lineup looks like on paper. For Rhode Island, they also are trotting out in different formation, a 4-4-2 to be precise. They played 3 backs or 5 backs the bulk of the year, but at halftime against Detroit last week, switched into a 4. You see J.J. Williams and Jojea Quizera up front. No Albert Dequa in the squad. He misses his 3rd consecutive match for Rhode Island. Well, we are just about set to kick off Group 4 action here in Westchester. Westchester SC beginning its home slate against one of the major powers in the USL Championship. Rhode Island kicks it off and gets the official home opener underway from Westchester. A new chapter in this club's very young history, and they look to christen it with a major result here this afternoon. Say hello and welcome. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action from Westchester County. It is a Westchester SC squad that has technically played here once before. Came in the 2nd round of the US Open Cup against New York Pan Cyprian Freedoms. But this is the official home opener. First time they've played a USL or professional foe on home soil. For Westchester, it's about building on what was a promising performance after going down on 3 separate occasions at Richmond Kickers. Dave Carton saying he was thrilled with the resilience in the second half. Obviously, there is heartbreak when you take the 4-3 lead into the closing stages and concede off of a soft set piece, but overall, a lot of positives to take from what was arguably the match of the year in USL League One. See if that confidence carries over here against Rhode Island as Fuson snatches this back. On the other side for Rhode Island, slight 2025 or 2024 hangover, I should say. As side that, of course, went on that Herculean run as the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference to the USL Championship final in its inaugural season. And it's dealt with a bevy of early season injury issues. 3-4 players that you would tip to start on a normal basis are out of the squad tonight once again. And Conno Smith says no return in sight just yet, as this is over the top for Williams, who hits it first time, and very little trouble in the end for Dane Jacoman. Does go out of play, though, for the match's first corner. Some early target practice for Rhode Island FC. Maxi Rodriguez, the designated corner man, with in-swing here. Charged away with relative aplomb by Blomestein. Jacoman collects. It's a Westchester squad that's gotten off to a promising start going forward. There have been some concerns at the back at times. Of course, shipping 4 last week. Dave Carton saying, with it being a multi-match week, tired legs set in, and perhaps they switched off in the early stages of the first half. Says our back 4 is better than it has performed. Here today, trotting out a back 3 and experimenting with a new shape, it seems. Well, there is your look at the standout addition for Rhode Island this offseason. Maxi Rodriguez spent the bulk of his USL Championship career with Detroit City, revitalized his career there. Last season an all-league first-teamer, but has yet to log his first goal contribution with Rhode Island, a side that scored just 5 goals in its first 5 league matches. Here's Joel Johnson, the former Charlotte man. We'll lose out to Hariveau. Fuson, always dangerous on it. This is Aldair Sanchez, the wingback. Cleared only as far as Holstad. Well, there is the man between the sticks for Westchester, the Loudon Loney, Dane Jacoman, 24 years of age, someone who was a frequent starter for Loudon 2 years ago, but with the change in structure at the club to focus more on bringing in experienced veterans, he fell behind Hugo Farou last year. Has been loaned out to Westchester, his second stint with Dave Carton, and Coach Carton raves about him, says he is young, he is incredibly talented, but we're willing to let him play through mistakes. And the question for him is if he can establish consistency as the year progresses. There's considerable optimism surrounding his abilities. There's an explicit understanding that he is to develop here at Westchester before eventually making his mark at Loudon in future years. This is chipped forward. Decent ball in. Johnson dinking it towards the back stick. And Obregon unable to run on to the end of it. Decent spell here for Westchester on the break. See Johnson just dink it towards Obregon at the back post, and Nadarce doing just enough to let it roll out of play. Jackson Lee to bash it away. It's his first start with Rhode Island here this season. Has spent the bulk of the year behind Koke Vegas, who's on the bench tonight. Did get some run in the early stages of last year, though. Did the Australian. Another goalkeeper with plenty of potential. That's a more open competition, according to Kano Smith. Adewole looks over the top for Johnson. This time overcooked. If you are just joining us, we welcome you to the stadium at Memorial Field in Westchester County, New York. Official home opener for Westchester SC to begin its Jägermeister Cup quest. As this is one back, looking in the middle for McGlynn. Rhode Island able to cope. Wizera. Looking through to Williams. Flag stays down. And still J.J. Williams. To Fuson. Excellent stop by Jacoman, who put himself in the right place at the right time. Best chance of the match so far. It's really well done by Williams. Just shrugs off his defender and then plays it perfectly into Fuson's pass, who would have been hoping to hit it a bit sweeter. That is the risk you take by throwing bodies forward. It's a Westchester side that Dave Carton says will play vertical, will play direct, but against a side like Rhode Island with so much pace on the wings, that could get intriguing. Can definitely make you pay on the break. Holstad to take this long throw. And back for Clay Holstad. Rhode Island with another corner in the offing. You figure they'll be under fire for large spells tonight. Although this is a side that is rather unintimidated by the prospect of playing a championship club. Don't appear to adjust their style much for anyone. Well, a vast stable of traveling support. Rhode Island opening its season 7 straight on the road. In swinging ball from Rodriguez. Runs all the way through to Herifo. And a delayed whistle against Westchester. Rhode Island's had quality traveling support wherever it's gone. When you talk to Cano Smith, throughout that run to the USL Championship final, which featured 4 consecutive matches away from home, he said it himself, we had vocal support at every match. And despite the fact that they have yet to open their new stadium, that'll come next week, you see and hear their fans in this building today. What can they conjure from this set piece? Rodriguez once again to take. Arcing ball to the near post. Williams got on the end of it, but just got underneath it a bit much. Warning shot from Rhode Island, another. Just runs all the way through to Williams, and Bauman doesn't react in time. Nearly pays the price. Obregon. Fuson. Jacoman way off his line here. Flag was raised anyways. Fans, the USL on CBS Sports Network kicks off May with a matchup of NorCal rivals. Oakland Roots SC take on Sacramento Republic FC. May 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. All part of the expanding footprint of the USL Championship and USL League One, both on the ESPN and CBS family of networks here in 2025. Rhode Island has been on CBS big time. USL Championship final when they fell at Colorado Springs Switchbacks in 3-0 fashion. McGlynn. Hunting the run of Samori Powder. Well, it's good to see this venue back and humming. You see the vast support from both clubs here at the stadium at Memorial Field, a recently renovated venue back in 2022, but one that dates all the way back to 1931. Seats just under 4,000, has hosted the Jackson 5 in the past. This is a very proud venue in the Westchester area. And now it hosts professional soccer for the first time in quite some time. McGlynn. Johnson. Quality underlapping run from Johnny Bolaños. Back for Obregon. Jackson Lee passes his first test. It's slick interplay. Jackson Lee has to palm out a full arm to get his touch on this. Bolaños on the counter. Obregon on the half volley. Lee times it to perfection. Someone who last season, as we mentioned, was in competition for the starting role. Former first-round draft pick by LAFC back in 2024. It will be Johnson to take this corner, the first of the match for Westchester. Within swing, Williams first to it. Quizera. As Fuson surging the other direction. And he does outwit Powder. He tucks right back in at the last moment. Samori Powder that time, timing his challenge to perfection. Member of the Week 7 Team of the Week in USL League One. Yet another corner here. Sanchez taking it from the opposite flank. High arcing ball. Obregon can't clear his lines. Quizera took a deflection on the way. Fans catch every heart-pounding moment at Westchester's home stadium at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. 2025 season tickets are on sale now, offering flexible payment plans, priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and much more. As this is taken short to Fuson and stabbed away. Don't miss an unforgettable season of fun, friends, community, and soccer. Visit westchestersc.com to become a 2025 season ticket member today. Just beyond the opening quarter of an hour mark in Westchester's official home opener here at the stadium at Memorial Field. So far holding their own against Rhode Island FC, the reigning runners-up in USL Championship. Dave Carton himself said, if we can hold our own through the first 10 to 15 minutes and just not get caught out early, I have faith that we will not only grow into the match, but potentially cause them some major trouble the other direction. And we've already seen some decent chances for Westchester. Both teams have had their fair share of opportunities in the opening stages. It is a Rhode Island side that doesn't necessarily overwhelm you in possession. They found themselves on the back foot, possession-wise, their last 3 matches, including the victory over Portland Hearts of Pine last week in the U.S. Open Cup. So far, bossing proceedings, but Westchester has established a foothold the other way. And Dave Carton himself says he's not overly concerned with overwhelming teams with the ball. It's more about playing vertical and being purposeful in the possession they do have. Obregon. Touched away by Sanchez. Rodriguez. This is Jojea Quizera. It is important to note for Rhode Island, despite opening the year with just 2 wins in its first 6 and only 1 win in league play, it isn't necessarily indicative of their potential. They opened the season in a draw fest a season ago, and they completely put it together in the second half. Quizera touching this back towards Williams. Read well in the end by McGlynn. But it is a side that hovered around the playoff line for large spells of last year before they really kicked it into high gear in the final 3-4 months of 2024. The side that ended the year 6 matches unbeaten and then surged on that historic run to the final. under Connor Smith, at least judging on the small sample size, they tend to improve over time, and did see signs of that with back-to-back victories before they fell to Detroit last week. A match which is hard to judge given that Frank Nadarce was sent off 6 minutes in. Herifal. Quizera. They look back for him now on the far flank. Powder intervening. We'll keep your eye on the Powder Brothers, excuse me. Noah, of course, the reigning USL League One Player of the Week. Samori, who wears number 7, scoring last week against Richmond. Both of them named to the Team of the Week last week. Both of them dynamic going forward. It slips into Williams, who just lost his footing. JJ Williams is slow to get up. Well, fans, you can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Rhode Island FC debuts their brand new stadium as they host San Antonio FC on May 3rd at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Rhode Island team that we mentioned began its season with 7 straight on the road. Today finishes that run, and then they open up their new stadium right on Tidewater Landing, a $400 million venture. And if their traveling support is any sign, it should be a fantastic environment. And Connor Smith said it himself. The constant matches on the road makes it difficult, and if they turn one more loss into a win, I think most fans are calling that a pretty strong start. Says that as they move home, he's very optimistic the goals will fly in and performances will improve. Especially given that that stadium will seat about 10,000. Well, so far, shaping up to be largely one-way traffic in terms of possession. Westchester struggling to play out, but when they do, chances have presented themselves. Builds an interesting tenor of cat and mouse here this afternoon. There is one of the top scorers from last season's Rhode Island team, JJ Williams, who's dealt with some bruises early on today. He and Adewole in a physical confrontation throughout the afternoon. 11 goals a season ago for number 9 in orange. There is Connor Smith, the head man of Rhode Island FC, his second year at the helm. Someone who signed a multi-year extension in mid-March after the historic 2024 season. And he's really regarded as a prodigy in the coaching ranks, has pretty much played a role at every level, be it an assistant in the MLS ranks with New England Revolution, in NWSL as well. Also has factored in at Birmingham Legion, which prior to last year was a mainstay in the postseason. He's carried that over well to Rhode Island. Quizera on the underlap, tries for goal, and it nearly dipped in time. Took a deflection as well, according to our official. Excellent interplay between Quizera and Erivo. You see it does deflect. Jacoman likely a bit relieved because that could have gone anywhere. Sets up Maxi Rodriguez with yet another in-swinging corner. And it finds its way in. Rhode Island breaks the deadlock early, and it's Frank Nadarce on the score sheet. It was constant pressure. And at the third time of asking from this near side, Rodriguez delivers a peach for Nadarce to pounce on. It felt like it was coming. And Nadarce the beneficiary. What a ball this is. A relatively free header. The challenge comes very late. Nadarce heads it into the ground, takes a weird hop off the turf, and not much Jacoman could do. Well, the 24-year-old former Rio Grande Valley man strikes with his 10th career goal. And what a rebound for him after being sent off just 6 minutes into the Detroit City match last Saturday. Gets on the score sheet just a couple matches after scoring in the Open Cup against Portland. Rhode Island 1, Westchester 0. You just wonder how that changes the complexion of things, because Rhode Island had really started to grab the match by the scruff of the neck. And now you get the sense that there'll be more confidence in their boots. Westchester having to tilt the tide before this potentially gets out of hand. Bauman. Johnson. Obregon over the top to Bolaños. Early cross. Nearly fell for Obregon. Powder. And well, that's positive from the hosts. Samori Powder winning Westchester a corner. On the other side of things, Dave Carton, his first year at the helm of Westchester SC, a former longtime assistant for Mike Jeffries at Charlotte Independence, and has brought over a couple of key contributors from that side. As Obregon's delivery is, Johnson's is right into Lee's gloves. Carton's someone who's got a clearly defined style and feels as the year goes on, they'll be tough to beat. Sanchez over the top for Quizera. And now through Rodriguez! Deflected, loose for Williams, and he converts. It is 2 for Rhode Island in 3 minutes. And the visitors with a vice grip on this now. The traveling support rejoicing. J.J. Williams onto the score sheet. Rhode Island 2, Westchester 0. Progressive ball from Harivo. Rodriguez, it's not quite the best parry from Jacoman, and it buys Williams plenty of time to just place this in the bottom left. Took his time with it. Arguably could have been too much, but a third in all comps for Williams to double the lead. Well, he's a proven goal scorer. Made his 150th USL Championship appearance at the weekend. Now adds his third of the year in all comps for Rhode Island. And when talking to Cano Smith, he mentioned that he wasn't concerned about the output of his strikers. Coming into today, of course, Williams only 2 and 5, Dequa only 1 and 4. He said the goals will fly in as the year goes on. My strikers are getting into good positions. Maybe they'd hope to have one or two more, but I'm not concerned. And Williams paying off that faith moments ago. At this point, it has to be caution to the win time for Westchester. Fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history with Westchester's first professional soccer club. Season tickets start at just $18 per game, bringing you world-class action at unbeatable value. Visit westchestersc.com to learn more and lock in your seat for the 2025 season. 2025 Westchester SC season tickets are on sale now. We're at the 30-minute mark, and after 23-ish minutes of obdurate defending, Westchester's been cracked twice. Nadarce in the 25th, and then moments ago in the 28th, J.J. Williams pouncing on a rebound to make it 2 for Rhode Island. And you can't argue that the advantage is undeserved either. It is a side that looks the part of the one that stormed through the postseason a year ago. And a welcome response after last Saturday's defeat at Detroit. Williams, the goal scorer. Come back to that foul on Williams. Fan Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Rhode Island pushing forward again. They don't seem satisfied with 2. Fuson. Sanchez. Just crossing towards Quizera, who was offside. There's the reigning player of the week in USL League One, Noah Powder. A goal and 2 assists to his name in that 4-4 draw at Richmond, which, as we mentioned, might take Game of the Year plaudits when all is said and done. He was the standout performer, linked up with his brother Samori for a goal. Just the second ever goal between brothers in USL League One history. First of which came in 2019 between Arturo and David Rodriguez with North Texas. It's danger time here for the hosts. Response before intermission would do a world of good. Quizera. Looking for the run of Rodriguez. Flag stays down. This is Maxi Rodriguez. Jacoman first to it. And a loose challenge from Bauman. She's shown the yellow. First man in the book for either side. Slightly reckless. It comes a bit late, although clearly going for the ball. And he caught Nadarce right on the shin. It's a yellow card the fans are displeased with, but one that appears to meet the textbook criteria. Obregon. Space on the break here for Westchester. Looking over the top for Bolaños. Can't quite lay it off into his teammate's path. At least some signs of life from Westchester. Johnny Bolaños, a former Golden playmaker in League One, was briefly standing over that. He will now cede it. Noah Powder will take this corner. Toward the back stick, and can't quite pick out Toby Adewole. And it's important to note, both these teams still not even at full strength. For Westchester, still without the services of former longtime MLS vet Kemar Lawrence, who's a key left back. Also, don't have Rashid Tete, who broke his nose at Detroit in the Open Cup. So it's still a defense that isn't at full strength, and that's why you see Connor McGlynn playing more in a center back role, despite at least being listed more as a defensive midfielder, although we've already seen throughout his championship tenure, and even his time with Rhode Island last year, that he can deputize in the back line. Guizera looking for Williams again. This one is too tight on Jacoban. On the other side, we've already mentioned Rhode Island. It's a bevy of players not in the squad tonight. Dikwa missing his third straight match. Mark Ibarra also out. And then still a pair of defenders in Denny Rovira and Hugo Bacharach, who haven't even featured for the club this year. So there's still plenty of room for growth for them as well. Fuson laying it off. Rodriguez makes it 3. A clinical break, and Rhode Island is putting it on the host now. A goal-scoring barrage from the visitors, and Maxi Rodriguez gets in on the party. It's just turned over very quickly, and all Fuson has to do is play this perfectly into Rodriguez's path, and suddenly both of them have goal contributions in one fell swoop. Maxi Rodriguez opening his account for Rhode Island FC. Well, there is the 29-year-old who was exceptional in his time with Detroit City. Someone who revitalized his career with Detroit, began his professional pursuits with local San Antonio FC before moving down to League One with Richmond, but could never really find his footing, and at the time, during the pandemic, contemplated backup plans professionally. Then found his way, then in Nice with Detroit City FC, became one of the top players there and followed them to the championship a few years back, and his play continued to improve. Now with Rhode Island, after a slower start by his lofty standards, is on the score sheet for the first time. You just wonder if maybe that is it for Westchester today. It would take a Herculean effort to erase this deficit. Dave Carton's raved about their resilience. We'll see if they can provide it here. Blomestein got free, and it forced Lee into a quick fire save. Well, there's that directness that we've alluded to. Direct ball from Powder. Blomestein on the turn, just hits it first time on the half volley. Decent effort. Now flicked along by Obregon. And we'll run it right back. Erivo is slow to get up. some cause for concern. Seems like he got the wind knocked out of him. Zachary Hariveau, who's battled injuries throughout his career, but was comeback player of the year in USL Championship last season. Appears content to try and walk this off. Sanchez, Rodriguez, and now plenty of space for Rhode Island. This is Clay Holstad. We'll wait for reinforcements. Well, this is arguably the most definitive half of Rhode Island's season to date, although the first half at Oakland may beg to differ. Quizera. As far as Alder Sanchez. Hariveau in space. Quizera. Rodriguez is looking for Williams. Adewole read it. And Obregon wins it back. A chance here for Westchester. This is J.C. Obregon Jr. Recovered well by Nadarse. Promising half chance, but once again, like many of the others, it goes begging for the hosts. Noah Powder looking to provide a lifeline before intermission. Well, the wind is having ideas of its own. It's a chillier day. Mid-50s in Westchester at the moment. Ran all the way through. Pierre. Now Samori Powder. Back for Bobby Pierre. Rodriguez taking the sting out of it. Last thing stands. Rhode Island is in cruise control. They've already matched their largest advantage of the season. It came at Oakland in the 3-0 victory on April 5th. That was their first victory of the season. Holstad hunting more carnage. Fuson. Was looking for Williams. Fans, 2025 Westchester Soccer Club season tickets are now on sale. Don't miss your chance to be part of our historic inaugural season at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. Catch all the action and all the fun starting at just $18 per game. Tickets are selling fast. Visit westchestersc.com for more information. On the precipice of halftime, a 3-0 advantage for Rhode Island FC and Westchester SC's official home opener to begin Jägermeister Cup play. The goals scored by Frank Nadarse, J.J. Williams, and Maxi Rodriguez, all in a 12-minute span. After 25 minutes of relatively strong defending from the hosts, but the door has been broken and thrust down since. Fuson goes out of play for yet another Rhode Island corner. Altair Sanchez to take. With in swing. Not much, but he'll get a chance to run it back. Altair Sanchez, 23-year-old who's spent the bulk of this season in a wing-back role, but Rhode Island shifting their formation and now listed as a midfielder today. Delivers a better ball that's tighter on Jacoman. And it falls. Had some venom to the effort, but very little accuracy. Three minutes of added time separate us from intermission. And as things stand, could be an uglier day on the score sheet for Westchester in their home opener. Cano Smith, highly complimentary of his opposition today, says when you look at them on paper, you could make a strong argument that they are one of the better rosters in USL League One. They brought in players not only from across the USL ranks, but across the globe. A team that brings back a lot of former experienced USL presences after years abroad as well. It's a global team, but it's also one that is familiar with this league. Obregon is the poster child of that experience. Loose from Bolaños. Nearly comes through to Blomestein. Lee is off his line and wins the foot race. McGlynn. Samori Powder. Has his brother Noah on the overlap and finds him. Can they turn these signs of promise into a legitimate chance is the question. All in-swinging corners from here. Johnson can't quite clear the first man. Adewole escorted wide. This is Joel Johnson. Powder. No one on the end of these early crosses in, some of them lacking the accuracy required. Well, there's halftime whistle. One-way traffic, and it certainly looks that way on the score sheet. A trio of tallies for Rhode Island FC sees the reigning runners-up in USL Championship comfortably ahead of Westchester SC in its home opener. It was Nadarse who opened the scoring in the 25th. J.J. Williams doubling the advantage moments later. And then that man, Maxi Rodriguez, polishing things off with a third in the 37th. It is to Rhode Island FC 3, Westchester SC 0 at halftime in this first match of Group 4 in Jägermeister Cup play. Well, we are just about set.
Expect Manhattan-level care, and you live in Westchester. With Northwell, you'll find it all right here through this store in Terrytown and this one in Katona, at Phelps Hospital and Northern Westchester Hospital. It's where you'll find a vast network of world-class doctors delivering everything from primary care to the most complex neurosurgery and cancer treatments. And it's all part of New York's most awarded health system, with every door leading to extraordinary care right here in Westchester. Northwell. Raise health.
What makes Westchester different is what makes us strong.
Different towns, different dreams, different journeys.
It's the businesses that fuel our neighborhoods, the families that shape our future. It's the balance of city hustle
And scenic river towns. It's hard work, ambition, resilience, the drive to compete, and the will to win.
No matter where we come from,
Here, we are connected by something greater. Like the waters of the Hudson, we move with strength and purpose.
when we play together,
We are unstoppable. Our United by Blue jersey is more than just a uniform. It's a symbol.
the deep blue represents the rivers that shape our home, while the repeating infinity W pattern speaks to our relentless pursuit of progress.
Gold accents remind us of the excellence we strive for.
On and off the field. Inside every jersey, the words
We are Westchester.
serve as a reminder whether you wear it on the pitch,
Or in the stands.
you are a part of something bigger.
When we stand together, we are Westchester.
We welcome you back to Mount Vernon, where at halftime, Westchester SC finds themselves in a major hole against Rhode Island. 3-0 to the visitors here in the first Jägermeister Cup match for both teams. Well, it's time to get a broader look at the Jägermeister Cup. Let's take a look at the rules as well as some of the best moments from yesterday's fixtures in round one of the competition.
This year, the Jägermeister Cup will feature all 24 clubs from the USL Championship and all 14 clubs from USL League One. The 38 teams are placed in 6 groups divided by region. 4 groups will have 6 teams, 2 groups will have 7 teams. Each club will play 4 matches in group play, 2 at home and 2 away. At the conclusion of the group phase, the 6 group winners and 2 wildcard teams will enter the knockout stage. To set the quarterfinals, the wildcards are locked into slots as away teams. Group winners are drawn for spots 1 through 6, then drawn to fill the matchups from match 1 all the way to match 4. In this stage, wildcard teams cannot play against the winner from their respective groups. In the semifinals, the 4 remaining teams will be drawn randomly, and the last 2 teams standing will be drawn to determine the host for the Jägermeister Cup final.
This week on USL All Access, we spoke to Switchbacks captain Matt Mahoney.
How the slow start is going to be the fast turnaround for the 2024 title holders. How about Open Cup glory once again for USL Championship teams, the dominating factor in round 3. And last but not least, our final remaining team without a win, Hartford Athletic, finally grabbed 3 points and get themselves into the race in the Eastern Conference.
You don't want to miss it, SiriusXM FC and the USL YouTube page.
Today we went to the beach and it was totally worth it. Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. 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 What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
3 ice cold Jägermeister shots, please. Those look warm.
Serve it cold or don't serve it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold.
You expect Manhattan-level care, and you live in Westchester. With Northwell, you'll find it all right here through this store in Terrytown, and this one in Katona, at Phelps Hospital and Northern Westchester Hospital. It's where you'll find a vast network of world-class doctors delivering everything from primary care to the most complex neurosurgery and cancer treatments. And it's all part of New York's most awarded health system, with every door leading to extraordinary care right here in Westchester. Northwell. Raise health.
We welcome you back to Westchester County, where Westchester SC trails 3-0 in their home opener and Jägermeister Cup opener against Rhode Island FC. Plenty of work to be done here as we take a look around the USL on the halftime show. Time for our news and notes of the Jägermeister Cup. 2 more matches to follow. This one, Birmingham Legion hosting Chattanooga Red Wolves at 4 Eastern on ESPN+. And then later tonight, to round up round 1, Spokane hosting Oakland Roots in a League One versus Championship clash. Well, it's now time to take a breather here on the halftime show. When we return, a look back at the first half between Westchester and Rhode Island.
Being healthy means you can do what makes you happy. With the people who make you smile. Health First Insurance Plans connect you to care you can trust. For a happy family. And a healthy future. With Health First, it's all within your reach.
What makes Westchester different is what makes us strong.
Different towns, different dreams, different journeys.
It's the businesses that fuel our neighborhoods, the families that shape our future. It's the balance of city hustle
and scenic river towns. It's hard work, ambition, resilience, the drive to compete, and the will to win.
No matter where we come from,
here we are connected by something greater. Like the waters of the Hudson, we move with strength and purpose.
When we play together,
we are unstoppable. Our United by Blue jersey is more than just a uniform. It's a symbol.
The deep blue represents the rivers that shape our home, while the repeating Infinity W pattern speaks to our relentless pursuit of progress.
Gold accents remind us of the excellence we strive for,
on and off the field. Inside every jersey, the words,
"We are Westchester,"
serve as a reminder whether you wear it on the pitch
or in the stands.
You are a part of something bigger.
When we stand together, we are Westchester.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. We are back here from Westchester County. Things at 3-0 advantage for Rhode Island FC, and I think the stats reflect their dominance, to be perfectly honest with you. 55% of the ball, an 11-4 shots advantage, and when it comes to shots on goal, tripling up the hosts. Westchester, in moments, has had breaks forward, but the bulk of those came before the opener. Since Rhode Island opened the scoring, it has frankly been a mauling, and there is plenty of work to be done for the hosts if they have any route back into this match in their first Jägermeister Cup clash. That's your look at the bigger picture in the first half. Expected goals tells the full story too. 1.48 for Rhode Island, 0.20 for Westchester, a side that outside of Obregon's chance in the first 10 minutes has created very little of note. Well, it has been a long afternoon for Dane Jacoman. He's been under fire. He'll be hoping that his side can at least take the pressure off him or at least catch the visitors on the counter. On the other side of things for Cano Smith's bunch, they have to be overjoyed with the performance so far. The switch to the 4-back at halftime of the Detroit match last week, according to Cano Smith, really led to a strong response despite them falling in that match 2-0. And I think the success is carried over here to the first half of this contest. Well, for Westchester, it would take a magical effort to get back into this, but try they will. Rhode Island hoping to secure what would be their 3rd victory in all competitions this year and potentially kickstart their road back up the Eastern Conference table. We are back underway here from Westchester. We will see what the final 45 has in store. Welcome you back into the stadium at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon, New York. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action here this afternoon. The first home match officially of the season for Westchester SC. They did play a U.S. Open Cup match in the 2nd round on this very ground against New York Pancyprian Freedoms. That was a 3-2 victory, but this was always the home opener on paper, and well, the fans have treated it as such. A quality turnout in this 3,900-seat venue. Holstad going to pick up where Rhode Island left off. This is Jojea Quizera. Herivo. Dyer Sanchez. The question is for Westchester, can they establish some semblance of a possessional foothold in this? It's a side that was the first team to outpossess AV Alta in Alta's home opener. And while they fell 2-0 in that match, Dave Carton expressed some promise for their ability to hold their own on that front, despite being a more direct team than perhaps other teams in the division. So far today, overrun for large spells by the visitors. Quizera linking with Holstad. Plenty of space to run into here. Cutting it across for Herivo. Cleaned up in the end by Bauman. Just overcooking it for Bolaños. Uncharacteristically quiet day for Jonathan Bolaños, who entered today 4th in USL League One in chances created. We've already mentioned his success at Richmond, leading the league in assists back in 2022 for a kicker side that won the Players' Shield title that year. And he continued that success the last 2 years with Huntsville City in MLS Next Pro. 1 goal to his name so far for Westchester. Still plenty of room to grow as well at just 26 years of age. His potential is sky high. Powder. An early cross in. Darce first to it. Fell briefly for Bauman. Bolaños has Bauman in space and options in the box. Darce making himself big. And Westchester will settle for a corner. Well, all of the best involvements have come off Bauman's boots. The Dutch-born Australian center midfielder who spent last season in the Australian 2nd Division with Marconi Stallions. looking for Obregon. And only as far as Connor McGlynn, who is playing against his former club today. Best known for his 4 years with Hartford Athletic, but spent last season with Rhode Island and dealt with a slightly injury-affected campaign. Still made 9 starts for Rhode Island before falling out of the lineup by the end of the season. Bolaños. Well, if Westchester were to find the back of the net today, it wouldn't be their first goal on this ground. Scored 3 against Pan Cyprians, but it would mark a monumental moment for this club, which was only announced in May of last year. This is laid off. Strolled onto by Johnson, who caught the defender on the follow-through, and the whistle will sound against Joel Johnson. Obregon's been involved in spurts today. He's just looking for Johnson's run. He actually isn't the one to contact this. Contacts all of the defender and none of the ball. And that explains the referee's whistle. But if you are Westchester, it's still, regardless of result, a monumental day. Team that wasn't announced until May 9th of 2024 as the newest USL League One franchise, and what a rapid turnaround it's been. In less than 11 months, finding a spot to play, building a club. Of course, appointed Dave Carton in August of last year, so a somewhat tighter turnaround to field players than most coaches have. Usually are hired about a year and a half before the club begins play. And he hasn't just built a squad, he's built one that on paper is tipped to do major damage in the league. And while it's come in fits and spurts so far throughout their first 4 league games, they have shown very high potential at times. And Stoneman commits that transgression. Westchester not just playing at any venue. We mentioned this history, the history behind this venue. Established in 1941, has hosted so many high-profile acts, be it concerts or even professional football back in the 60s. Blomestein wins this back and does win Westchester a corner. While it fell into disrepair in the late 1900s, it's been rebuilt. $40 million invested by the county to make this a viable multi-purpose venue, not just for Westchester SC, but Mount Vernon High School as well. It is a terrific location. Well, fans catch every heart-pounding moment at Westchester's home stadium at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. 2025 season tickets are on sale now, offering flexible payment plans, priority access discounts, invites to exclusive events, and much more. Don't miss out on an unforgettable season of fun, friends, community, and soccer. Visit westchestersc.com to become a 2025 season ticket member today. Westchester trying to build an avenue back into this match. It has been a better response since the restart. As Bolaños' ball comes in, and it's cleared only as far as Noah Powder to his brother Samori. Decent ball, flicked along, and it forces Jackson Lee into action. It was dipping and awkward for Lee, but he deals with it with aplomb. Plenty of altitude to this cross. Powder looking for the run of Blomestein. Does well to put this on frame, frankly. Westchester continuing to make noise from the corner flag. Blomestein penalized for his challenge. Yellow immediately shown as well for his troubles. So from positive involvement to booking in a matter of moments. 50-50 here. Comes in pretty hard on Maxi Rodriguez, to be fair. And the referee does not hesitate to brandish the yellow. Still slow to return to his feet, it seems. Colin Blomestein, one of 4 Netherlands natives who've been brought in, 3 of which have spent the bulk of their career in the Netherlands. Someone who was under contract with the Dutch second-tier side Volendam before joining Westchester, but also played in the Ajax reserves back in the day. And throughout his time in the Dutch lower leagues was a goal-scoring menace. Just never was able to translate that to the senior professional ranks in Dutch football. Just hoping that his stint here with Westchester can revitalize his goal scoring. Another Rhode Island man down. Rodriguez is taking his whacks at this moment. He's battled through all the contact and frustration and put forth a pretty impressive display, all told. The goal to make it 3-0, the effort that effectively set up Williams for the second. And assisting the opener. Has had a direct hand pretty much every goal so far. Now stands over this appetizing set piece. Training ground routine. Fuson. Closed down admirably by Johnson. We'll go out for yet another Rhode Island corner. I've already scored directly off one. And you look at the numbers. A heavy corner kick presence both ways. This is now the 8th of the day for Rhode Island, 10 for Westchester. Only one of which has yielded a goal today. Taken short, Wizera. Back for Aldair Sanchez. Wizera again. Sanchez looking for Williams at the back post, and he was offside by a matter of inches. Well, fan soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Approaching the hour mark here in Westchester SC's official home opener and the Jägermeister Cup opener for both these clubs. And well, it's going well, way better for the visitors today. A trio of first half tallies separating them. Nadarce opening the scoring in the 25th, Williams tacking on a second 3 minutes later, and then Maxi Rodriguez adding what has seemingly become the final touch in the 37th. There has been some bright spells for Westchester, but nothing glaring that has gone by the wayside yet. And overall, definitely second best amongst the two teams on the pitch. Fuson was onside, but Jacoman is able to collect. Fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history with Westchester First Professional Soccer Club. Season tickets start at just $18 per game, bringing you world-class action at an unbeatable value. Visit westchestersc.com to learn more and lock in your seat for the 2025 season. 2025 Westchester SC season tickets are on sale now. You still have plenty more home matches to catch because this is the first on the 2025 docket. And they will begin a rather busy stretch of matches at home after heading away from home next Sunday at Spokane. It's 4 straight. They take on Charlotte Independence on this very ground in league play before hosting Forward Madison, Richmond, and Hartford in the Jägermeister Cup to round out 4 consecutive at home. It is an interesting slate for Westchester. We mentioned how difficult it is on paper. For one, drawn into a 6-team group with 4 USL Championship clubs, but then having to face all 4 championship clubs. They do host Hartford before heading away from home for back-to-back matches against Pittsburgh and Detroit to close their group slate. Definitely a little more routine for the visitors. Change being readied for Westchester, and it is Prince Sadie who will enter. The former Rhode Island FC man who spent the first half of the campaign under Conno Smith's tutelage. He will replace Noah Powder. Substitution presented by Benjamin Steakhouse. Always a prime choice. So it is Sadie for Noah Powder, the reigning League One Player of the Week, with a rather underwhelming performance by his lofty standards. Could rarely get on the end of the ball. Sadie, a 32-year-old who spent 5 seasons in USL Championship, including splitting time between Rhode Island and Charleston last year. His most successful spell came with Hartford. Spent 2 seasons there, scored double-digit goals back in 2022 for Athletic. Rhode Island at this point knocking it about with so much confidence. Not imposing themselves as much, but they don't necessarily need to at this point. Guizera. Herivo. There's Guizera again. High arcing ball. Nearly found J.J. Williams. And Pierre was forced to intervene. Corner number 9 of the match for Rhode Island. They have not stopped banging the drums throughout the hour plus. A devoted vocal support base that has been built up over just a season and change. In swinger, bicycle kick attempts. It was audacious, but not far off. But it is impressive, the community, but also the support base Rhode Island has built. Of course, this club had a bit more runway to do so. Founded in 2019 and initially wanted to begin play by 2022, but COVID threw bit of a wrench in that. And so they were forced to wait until last year. Spent last season playing on the campus of Bryant University in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Now properly playing. As here's Williams, through on goal, makes it 4. A brace for Williams, a 4th for Rhode Island, and that should all but seal it. Clinical finish, and he's doubled his season tally in just 65 minutes. Slick. Harivo just waiting and timing the ball perfectly through to Williams. No one able to close him down, and dispatching with aplomb. You just see him draw McGlynn out of position, and then it's rather routine from there. A clinical finisher adds a 2nd on the afternoon. Well, so much for any concerns about striker production, because J.J. Williams has added 2 more to his tally after scoring just twice in the first 5 league matches of the year. And now changes for Westchester. Dean Goosen entering the action, as at this point the hosts just chase goals. He replaces Daniel Bauman, a more attack-minded swap. This substitution is brought to you by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Well, before the 4th goal rudely interrupted us, we were talking about Rhode Island and the culture they built around the club. Obviously played in Smithfield last year, now playing in Pawtucket properly. The stadium opening up officially this week for community events. Going to be called Centerville Bank Stadium, 10,500 seats. Decent ball forward from Bolaños, wins yet another Westchester corner. But next week is when Rhode Island FC opens the doors on professional football in Pawtucket. Will come against San Antonio at 4:30 on Saturday. Here's the in-swinger. Can't clear the first man. Rodriguez is looking for Holstad. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus hear live matches from the USL MLS Premier League and more, as Quizera gets on the end of this and deflected out of play. Decent recovery by Pierre. But you can hear live matches from the USL MLS Premier League and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. You can't get a word in around here. Rhode Island constantly creating chances, and the fans are loving it. Aldair Sanchez once again stands over this. Toward the back post, Jacoman this time able to collect. McGlynn hoping to switch the play and does so well. Once again cut out at the source, but decent from Sadie in his first involvement. Well, at this point, if you are Westchester, it doesn't hurt to throw caution to the wind, because as we mentioned, the primary differentiating factor at the end of the group stage is goals. We know Westchester is capable of filling it up, scored 4 last week, so If you put 1 or 2 by Rhode Island, you at least put yourself in the hunt for that tiebreaker in the wild card hunt. Adewole got a piece of this. Pierre, former Real Monarchs man, and not on the same wavelength as Guzin. Obregon. Space for Samori Powder. Bolaños. Ravo able to untangle himself from the defender. And a 3-on-3 here for Rhode Island. One that is cut out at the source because Fuson timed his run early. Fans, the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to uslchampionship.com or uslleague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Inside the final 20 minutes, here from Mount Vernon, New York, in this Jägermeister Cup opener, it has really been dominated by one side, a 4-0 advantage for Rhode Island. Sadie, though, was looking for Blumestein, and Lee reacting in time. There have been moments for Westchester, but again, very few clear-cut chances on Jackson Lee's goal. And at this point, as we mentioned, it's more about goals for the goals for tiebreaker than anything else. Bolaños is sent tumbling. It's not a bad free kick position. He would take something spectacular, though. About 27, 28 yards out. Obregon standing over it. Scored a screamer last week against Detroit in the Open Cup. From around this distance, in fact. He goes for goal, and a little less bite in this effort. Rhode Island readying a triple change. And those changes will take place now. Triple change for Rhode Island. Amish Shapiro-Thompson, the first to enter for Frank Nadarce. Joe Brito also will enter the fray for Maxi Rodriguez. And then finally, the last change comes with Taimu Okiyoshi, who will replace J.J. Williams, a man who earns a deserved applause from the traveling support. His brace helping power Rhode Island to this comprehensive advantage. Fans, this substitution is brought to you by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Rhode Island in prime form at the moment. A quartet of goals this afternoon not only would put them atop Group 4 at the end of the day, it would also have them with the most goals in the group. Some opportunities for younger lads. Connor Smith mentioned this would be a strong squad, and that it has been. Despite having 6 key players out, they've started close to a full-strength team, but now you get the opportunity for some lesser-used lads. Shapiro-Thompson, who really missed the bulk of last season under contract with Red Bulls 2 with injury, he gets an opportunity. And then Joe Brito, who was a star with Union Omaha for 2 years and has since settled into a super sub role in the championship with Rhode Island the last season change. Okiyoshi, who's on the ball at the moment, was one of the top defensive midfielders in the nation at Marshall a year ago, or well, this fall I should say. Part of a side that fell in the national championship game to Vermont in what was one of the more stunning championship finals in recent memory. Okiyoshi. Obregon still looking to provide a spark. Nearly found Blomestein. It's just that final ball which has eluded them the bulk of the afternoon. Quizera. Unable to untangle himself from Samori Powder. One of the better creative forces on this Rhode Island FC squad. Today, no exception, has been a danger. A frequent feature in the starting lineup except for when he's on international duty with Rwanda. In double digits now corner-wise for Rhode Island. Sanchez to deliver. It's tight on Jacoman. Smashed away only as far as Holstad. Follow-up effort rather underwhelming. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Another change for Westchester. It is Ermin Makcic who will enter, the 20-year-old, in place of Cohen Blomestein, who had his moments, made some decent runs, but nothing to show for it on the score sheet. It is Makcic who replaces him in a like-for-like swap, a frequent feature off the bench. As always, substitutions are brought to you by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Makcic, a native of Yonkers, New York, who played one season of college soccer at nearby Purchase College. And what a star he was. 18 goals and 14 assists, leading the Skyline Conference in goals as a freshman, and unsurprisingly earning Rookie of the Year honors in the conference. Then he made his move abroad, pursuing a professional career both in Serbia as well as Montenegro. But come February, he decided to return to the States and sign with his local club. Bolaños. He is dispossessed. Quizera left an unwanted parting gift, and now it's kicking off a bit between Bolaños and Quizera. Seems highly displeased with the nature of the challenge. Get another look. Does come in, studs up. Appears to be slightly going for the ball, but Quizera taking issue with the sliding nature of it. Takes a while for him to be cooled off. Bolaños was shown a yellow. Definitely was not a well-timed tackle. And Quizera will depart the action as a result. So Kevin Vang replaces Jose Quizera. So anyone fearing the worst in terms of disciplinary action, you don't need to worry anymore. Quizera just subbed off. Didn't want to take any more risk of any further escalation. This substitution is brought to you by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. So Kevin Vang making his season debut for Rhode Island FC, a native of Providence who played at Providence College before going pro. Also was a standout back in the day with the New England Revolution Academy. Connor Smith, of course, formerly coaching with the New England Revolution Academy way back as well. So the yellow card was shown to Bolaños. Quizera just subbed off on Connor Smith's accord. And now we are set for the final 10 minutes. At this point, academic, with the exception of if Westchester can put a goal on the board for wild card purposes. Anytime you lose 4-0 in a group stage match, especially when there's only 4 group matches, it does not position you brilliantly, especially when the next 3 teams you face are all USL Championship squads. Fans, 2025 Westchester Soccer Club season tickets are now on sale. Don't miss your chance to be part of our historic inaugural season at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. Catch all the action and all of the fun starting at just $18 per game. Tickets are selling fast. Visit westchestersc.com for more information. Has been a great atmosphere for this home opener. Unfortunately for Westchester, a muted one given that they fell behind after 25 minutes, and the floodgates opened from there. But the turnout, once again, very impressive, as well as the road support, although we've come to expect that from Rhode Island at this point. This makes for a really fun competition because due to the fact that all the teams are drawn into regional groups, it is not too arduous a trek. Look at Rhode Island FC, based in Pawtucket, which is towards the coastline of Rhode Island. And you compare it to Westchester, which is southern New York, just north of the city, and just outside Connecticut, which is the dividing state between the two. Depending on traffic, could get there in a little over 3 hours. If you know anything about New England area traffic, it never really cooperates. This is Okiyoshi. And Holstad. It has been wire-to-wire domination, even on the possession front. Nearly 55% of the ball for Rhode Island FC. They've vastly outperformed their expected goals, which sit at just 1.8 today. Meanwhile, Westchester, they've been held below 0.4 on XG. They had the one Obregon chance when it was still scoreless around the 15th minute or so. Other than that, very little for Jackson Lee to worry about on his season debut. His Jägermeister Cup debut. Did feature against Portland in the Open Cup and was rather impressive. Goes in. It's loose. Bolaños picks it up, and Westchester's on the board. Cause for celebration in the late stages of their home opener. And Johnny Bolaños scoring. His second for the club. And the Westchester faithful have something to cheer about. It's won back by Guzin in midfield, and it's a really progressive pass from the Dutchman. A loose touch from Harivo, and all Bolaños has to do is tuck it with the outside of the boot beyond Jackson Lee. So his quest for a first clean sheet of the year is dashed at the death. Westchester on the score sheet as Bolaños finishes clinically in the end. Well, he scored once in league play. He's now scored once in the Jägermeister Cup. And someone who has been a menace in the final third wherever he's gone. You look at, even dating back to his college days, a true menace. Fuson now tucking it inside, and Rhode Island nearly with the swift reply. Brito turned away by Jacoman. No rest for the Wicked. Rhode Island also knows that goals matter in this competition. You bank 4, you bank 5, could make a major difference if you run into a difficult match later in the group stage. In swinger. They cleared out to Bolaños. Well, Johnny Bolaños, at 26 years of age, really announced himself to the world during his time at High Point, where he was a 2-time first-team All-Big South selection. And there's a budding relationship between his head coach, Zach Haynes, and Darren Sawatsky at Richmond. So he made his way to Richmond Kickers. He's not the first High Point Panther to do so. Well, not the last, I should say. And in 3 years with the Kickers was exceptional, especially in that final campaign in 2022 when we mentioned he led the league with 11 assists. Made his move to Huntsville as he tried to break into the Nashville SC MLS ranks and was pretty terrific for a side that struggled, but has opted to return to League One and has been one of the more dynamic presences in this Westchester squad. Finished his time with Huntsville as well as the club's all-time leading goal scorer. Into the final 3 minutes of normal time. And Westchester add another. Sadie. Obregon. Now Samori Powder inside for Guzin. Oh, it's too tight on that near post. Well, when you look ahead for Rhode Island, we've mentioned a slightly lighter stretch. They do have to go to Pittsburgh on May 31st. But then things get a lot more manageable. Back-to-back home matches against League One opposition. Excuse me, one against the League One foe in Portland on June 28th. And then they host Hartford in what has been a budding rivalry on July 26th. So that completes the 2-2 split. Of course, them playing a League One side here today and dominating. Bolaños ran out of real estate on the far side. Pittsburgh always a difficult trip, but then when you have 2 matches in front of 10,000 strong, I think you'd fancy your chances. Especially against a Portland side that in the early stages of the year has struggled to turn possession into goals. Against a Hartford squad that was the last team in USL Championship to notch a league victory, although one that looked pretty good against Portland yesterday. into the final minute of the initial 90. Westchester with some late optimism, but at this point, that may be all they'll have to settle for. One more change for Rhode Island. Cole Dewhurst entering the action, the 21-year-old. It's for Grant Stoneman, who earns a well-deserved rest in the heart of defense. As always, this substitution is brought to you by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. 3 minutes of added time separate us from conclusion of this one. And to round out Group 4 of the Jägermeister Cup, it appears it will be a resounding Rhode Island victory. Vang. Harivo. This is Okiyoshi. Dewhurst, excuse me. Holstad, who is fouled. Clay Holstad has shown some goal-scoring punch the last few matches. This time, a more industrious shift as a center midfielder. Has ticked the ball along comfortably and has played a big role in Rhode Island's wire-to-wire dominance in this one. Guzin is fouled. Final minute of the added 3. Perhaps time for 1 or 2 more final breaks forward for Westchester as they hunt a second goal with wild card aspirations potentially on their minds. They went for it today. Had their moments in the first 20 minutes or so, but then caught out on that corner by Nadarse, and unfortunately for the hosts, things unraveled rather quickly after that. Fuson is grappling with contact to his ankle. As things stand, Rhode Island will go atop Group 4, Westchester to the bottom. But still, 3 more matches remain in the group stages for both these teams. Well, there is the final whistle. A resounding Rhode Island romp here in Westchester's official home opener. Cano Smith's side get back to winning ways with goals from 3 different outputs. Frank Nadarse and J.J. Williams scoring within 3 minutes of one another before Maxi Rodriguez adds on the third just before intermission. And in the second half, J.J. Williams was able to add a brace and end things at the double. On the other side of things, Johnny Bolaños, the only man on the score sheet for Westchester. It finishes Rhode Island 4, Westchester 1, when we return and look back at the 90 minutes that just transpired here from Westchester.
What makes Westchester different is what makes us strong.
Different towns, different dreams, different journeys.
It's the businesses that fuel our neighborhoods, the families that shape our future. It's the balance of city hustle
and scenic river towns. It's hard work, ambition, resilience, the drive to compete, and the will to win.
No matter where we come from,
Here, we are connected by something greater. Like the waters of the Hudson, we move with strength and purpose.
when we play together,
We are unstoppable. Our United by Blue jersey is more than just a uniform. It's a symbol.
the deep blue represents the rivers that shape our home, while the repeating infinity W pattern speaks to our relentless pursuit of progress.
Gold accents remind us of the excellence we strive for.
On and off the field. Inside every jersey, the words,
We are Westchester.
serve as a reminder whether you wear it on the pitch,
Or in the stands.
you are a part of something bigger.
When we stand together, we are Westchester.
We welcome you back to Westchester County, where Westchester SC falls in its Jägermeister Cup opener in resounding fashion. A 4-1 victory for the reigning runners-up in USL Championship. Rhode Island FC top of Group 4 in Jägermeister Cup play after one match week. Time to jump in to our full-time highlights here from Mount Vernon, New York, where there was early promise for Westchester, but things unraveled rather quickly after that. Picking things up in the 25th minute, Frank Nadarce off a corner, heading it into the turf and taking it beyond Dane Jacoman to give Rhode Island the early advantage. And then things really unraveled from there. Just 3 minutes later, J.J. Williams getting in on the goal-scoring party for the first of 2 times today. Maxi Rodriguez really creates it, and then all Williams has to do is pounce, tucks it into the bottom left, and Jacoman on his horse unable to get there in time. And then Rhode Island was not done. Before intermission, they had a third, hunting more carnage, this time in the 38th minute. Maxi Rodriguez, who had a direct involvement in the first 2 goals, on the score sheet, just running on to the end of this. A perfectly placed ball from Noah Fuson, and he tucks it in the bottom left. Makes it 3-0 before intermission, and then in the 65th minute, a giveaway. Haribo pouncing on it. He waits for J.J. Williams' run, who times it well, and then it's a routine finish with Jacoman's caught in no man's land. A brace for J.J. Williams inside 65 minutes, and that really polished it off. There was a late thing to celebrate as far as Westchester is concerned. Johnny Bolaños opening his account at home here. You see this is one back by Guzin, and then an error from Zach Haribo just leaves it dangling. Bolaños is able to tuck it into that bottom right with the outside of his boot to put Westchester on the board, but it was all really for naught other than a goal in the goals for category in this competition. You look at the full-time stats, Westchester dominated in almost every statistical category. They lose the possession battle, which honestly looks a little better than it actually appeared on the pitch. And then they were doubled up in the shots category, an 8-5 shots on goal advantage as well for Rhode Island, a team that was not booked. Meanwhile, 3 Westchester players entered the referee's book before the 90 minutes were out. It was a rough display from Westchester, their home opener. They had their moments in the first 15, but after those first 2 goals flew in, unfortunately for Dave Carton's side, not a lot to write home about until that late Bolaños chance.
Telecasts of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.